Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Paul Meyer. I'm the editor of AcresUSA magazine. Today's presentation and Q&A is going to focus on preparing for a certified organic inspection. This webinar is sponsored by USDA's new TOPP program, the Transition to Organic Partnership Program, which is a new initiative that's providing support to farmers who want to transition to organic. Specifically, it includes some funding opportunities for certified organic farmers to serve as mentors for new and aspiring organic farmers. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later in this presentation. Our presenter today is Molly Nakahara from CCOF, the California Certified Organic Farmer Association. And we're very grateful to have Molly come in here kind of at the last minute for us. She's an experienced program manager and agriculture advocate and educator. She's a certified organic farmer herself and the great granddaughter of Japanese immigrant farmers in the Salinas Valley in California. She has a BS in agriculture education and a certificate of ecological horticulture. And she served on the board of directors for the Ecological Farming Association for a decade and has worked with UC Cooperative Extension and community organizations to improve farm business acumen, protect farmland in perpetuity, and to support producers to adopt climate smart practices. And just this past January, she joined CCOF as their education manager and oversees their organic education. And she specifically is working to implement this new TOPP program. And so the format for today is we'll have Molly's presentation, about 20-25 minutes, followed by about 15 minutes for Q&A. So please type in your questions in the Q&A function down there at the bottom of the screen, and we will ask those questions to Molly. And this webinar is being recorded and will be available in the next few days on AcresUSA's YouTube channel, and probably some other places as well. You can find out more about us, AcresUSA, our magazine, books, live events, and more at acresusa.com. So with that, thank you again, Molly, and take it away.
Thanks, Paul. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this virtual space where we can all be in the same place at once. Like Paul said, my name is Molly Nakahara, and I am coming to you from Northern California. And I just want to start off by saying thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to invest in your own understanding and your own farm success. I know that September can be a really busy time of year on the farm. And so I just want to commend you for showing up. I think that is half the battle won. So here's to your continued success. I'm going to speak today about how to prepare for an organic inspection. And I think this topic is really important because oftentimes we farmers can feel a little bit guarded maybe about what's happening on our farm. That might come from a place of like not wanting people to see things that maybe we don't like to look at on our farms, or maybe having developed some of our own systems that feel like they're our way of doing things, and they may be giving us an edge to our competitors. And so bringing folks onto the farm, like an inspector or an auditor, can feel challenging. But really, what I'm here to do today is sort of demystify that process. It's not that big of a deal. The organic community wants you to be certified organic as a farmer, and they are here to support you. And so with that, let's launch into my slideshow. Give me one moment to share my screen. And okie dokie, hopefully everyone can see that. So preparing for inspection is basically the same as preparing for is just maintaining great records in order to stay prepared as an organic producer. If you are doing what you said you were going to do and sticking to your action plan as a producer, you are going to already be prepared. So a little bit more about me right there. And then, of course, a picture of my farm. When I'm not here, I am running a very, very tiny, small certified organic farm where I raise pasture-based heritage breed pigs, and certified organic flowers. My pigs were not certified organic, so this is another thing that I'll be talking about today. You can have portions of your business that are certified and portions that are not certified, and there's certain records to keep to do that. So look at those piglets. So before we talk about certification, let's talk a little bit about organic, which I know you've been learning about in this series, but just my take on things. You know, what organic is not input substitution. Organic speaks to an entire production management system that focuses on ecological integrity. It's a way that we farm within the ecosystems of the land in a way that enhances biodiversity and works within existing ecological and biological cycles, and especially pays attention to the health and biology of the soil. So organic is a production system, and we are very fortunate as producers. Organic is also a marketing claim that is defined and regulated by the USDA National Organic Program. And that matters because the organic marketplace is, you know, organic food sales in the United States have grown every year since 2008. They're projected to continue growing. I think last year, 2022, was close to $80 billion in sales in the United States. And I don't know, double that globally. And organic is a term that matters to consumers. And when they see organic, they know what it means, and that is because it is a regulated and verified term. So we are lucky that there is this system backing us when we say we are organic producers and have organic products. That has real value and integrity. And although it can be tedious to maintain that, it's a real benefit to us as producers. So third-party certifiers maintain an accreditation. So folks like OCIA or CCOF, Oregon TILF, they get accredited by USDA to be the bodies that grant the status of organic to producers. And inspection is a piece of it. So what is an inspection? An inspection is an audit. It's when somebody comes to your farm and they look in your closet. And that is not totally inaccurate. When an inspector comes to your farm, they can look at everything. They're looking at all aspects of production. And that is to ensure that you are doing what you said you were going to do, and within your organic system plan, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And that they're verifying that your operation and therefore your products comply with these federal rules, the organic rule. Inspectors can look at all aspects of your production, and most importantly, they're going to be looking at your records, because they're going to want to find out, it's not just what's happening on the farm that one day. They're trying to understand what's happened on the farm for the past year. And records are the paper trail that are going to lead them there. And they are ensuring that you are following your organic system plan. Every organic operation has to be inspected once a year. To renew your organic certificate, you need to have an audit. And new applicants to organic have to be inspected before they're able to produce any certified organic product and set for sale. That doesn't mean that a farm can start using organic methods today. You can employ these organic production system methods that are helping the biology of your soil and protecting the health of your workers and your family. You can start doing those today, and we encourage that. But to become certified organic, you have to, and sell product that's certified organic, you have to have an inspection before that can happen. The other thing that is really important, and this maybe was talked about before, but to become certified organic, there has to be a window of transition that's 3 years long. And that's if there was a prohibited material applied to the land or somewhere in the production process. So you may have learned a little bit about materials, but there are inputs that are allowed. So anything that comes from outside of the farm, there are ones that are approved for use in organic systems. And some of those, there are materials that haven't yet been approved. And then there are materials that are prohibited. This is a big no-no. And a lot of those are the sides, things that are the various synthetically produced fertilizers or pesticides, insecticides, and fungicides, GMO seeds. There's prohibited materials. And so if one of those has been used on your land, even if you've just like you're renting a new piece of land or you've bought a new parcel, but the previous land user was using a prohibited material, you need to wait a 3-year transition period. Some certifiers like CCOF certify transitional organic. So you can obtain a certification that says you're in transition to organic. And at that 3-year mark, you're going to obtain total certified organic. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the organic system plan. The organic system plan is the guiding document for an organic producer. It is a blueprint that plans your whole farm within organic and production practices and certification. Each certifier has their own OSP template that you fill out when you apply to be organic. It's a living document. That means we want you updating it in real time as things change on your farm. And this will really help you be prepared for inspection. If that OSP is current and up to date and truly reflects all that has happened in the past year, then inspection is going to be a lot easier than if things have changed and you haven't yet necessarily told your certifier. And the way you would tell your certifier is by updating your organic system plan. So it's a living document. Keep that in mind. Each section of the OSP, as I'm going to call it from here on out, the OSP, corresponds with sections of the organic rule. And so it is sort of speaking to that rule. It's a checklist walking through your production system to ensure that you are in compliance. It is the guide when you get an inspection. It's what your inspector is going to follow to look at, and they're going to want to verify the records that are evidence of all of the production practices that are outlined in your OSP. So remember that you've got your OSP and then you have your records, financial and production records that are going to be the evidence proving that you have followed your OSP. And it's a great tool. And we all have been taught to have plans when we go through our farming season. And farmers are very good at plans. We love, because once the busy time hits, you can't be planning. You've got one shot to have a good season. And so an organic system plan is a really great tool just for production, period. So once again, an inspection is an auditor coming to your farm, and they are going to look with their own eyes at all areas of organic production. So these are parcels. They're going to want to look at a parcel is a contiguous piece of land. So you may have separate parcels if you have farm fields that or areas of production, areas where you're grazing your cattle that are different, and they're not connected to each other. So an inspector is going to want to look at all of those different pieces of land, and they're going to want to then sit down and look at all of your records and financial records and activity logs for the fields. And that might include like receipts for things you've purchased, just all the paper trail. And again, they're verifying that from seed to sale, your system is in compliance. So what did you grow and how did you grow it? And then where did it go and how much of it did you produce? And it is going to have financial benefit to you to prepare for your inspection by keeping that OSP updated and keeping really good farm records. Because certifiers bill for the amount of time it takes to inspect your farm. And so if you have a very organized, ready to go, ready to roll inspection set up when your inspector shows up, it's going to take less time and therefore cost you less money. certifiers often have, most certifiers have a checklist for preparation. So just make sure you get that checklist, do everything. Your inspector, as part of their job scheduling an inspection with you, they'll do sort of a pre-inspection interview just to make sure, like, hey, did anything change and anything I should be aware of? And that's another good set of instructions to follow to get ready. And then just to remind all of you, I don't know if you've talked about organic cost share, but the Farm Bill guarantees, not guarantees, but in the Farm Bill, we get a pot of money for all of us to be reimbursed for the expense of maintaining organic certification on our farms. And so every year there, by October 31st, you can apply for cost share reimbursement and be reimbursed for up to 75% of 75% of costs associated with certification. So that would be your inspection, your annual fee to your certifier, and you can get up to $750 back. So that is an amazing program to take advantage of, and it can really help pay for inspection. When an inspection happens, they're looking at everything that happened since your last inspection. And so they're going back in time a whole year to try and figure out what was happening on the farm. And at your first inspection, which I would say is probably the easiest one, so if you aren't certified organic yet, go for it now and enjoy an easy inspection. You're going to be asked, how are you tracking this organic? How are you tracking going forward? When we show up next year, what will you have done? And what are the records that will have shown us what you've done for that whole year? So you've got stuff to do to get ready for your inspection. One is to review that organic system plan to see does anything need updating? Look at your materials, your inputs list. Is everything on there accurate? Do you have anything to add or remove? And those materials often need to be sort of approved by your certifier. So you want to give plenty of lead time to do that. You want to make sure you're doing these updates at least 2 weeks before an inspection. You'll get action items from your certifier. So if you have things you need to get done, you'll know about them. They'll be asking you for them, unless it's a change that you have yet to report, like a new parcel or a new input. Then you have to gather a whole bunch of supporting evidence as I look at it. These are your farm records, and this is all evidence of production. So for your inputs and materials, that's a big section that your inspector is going to want to learn more about, just to make sure you're using things that are allowable in organic. So they're going to look back at all of your records of the materials and inputs that you've used on your farm. And so this will be receipts for where you've bought things. They're going to want to look at product labels, and to make sure that these are materials that are approved by the Organic Materials Review Institute or Washington State Department of Ag. Those are the two bodies that approve organic materials for organic. That's OMRI and USDA. And this includes seed and planting stock as well. Yep. So anything that you can think of on your farm that is sort of helping you track what type of things are coming into the farm, what is in those materials that you've bought, and then when you've put them out onto your farm. So those are the activity logs. When did you seed? When did you fertilize? When did you put the material out into the field? There needs to be logs, activity logs showing all that. They're also going to look at what's called an audit trail, and this is sort of that tracing back from sort of field to final sale. So when did you grow things, plant something, grow it? How did you grow it? When did you harvest? And then where did it go? And that includes any sort of transport or storage that might be offsite. So they want to see from seed to sale, everything that happened and everyone that sort of handled the product. And so there's some examples of what those things might be: invoices, market load lists, online orders. And when an auditor comes to your farm, they might just pull a harvest day, like we're going to let's look at September 14th here and what happened on your farm. And so then you're going to want to pull out like, okay, here's the harvest. Tomatoes, we contracted with this harvester, and these are the trucks that hauled it, and this is the cannery where it ended up, and here are all of the receipts to kind of show that. And this is the total yield that we got from this particular parcel, and here's all the activities of producing those tomatoes. This is when we planted them, and this is when the feeding schedule, and all of that whole from seed to sale. They want to see all the bits there. And they, like I said, they can sort of pull any date to just kind of walk through an audit trail. So you just want to make sure you've got real tight records, which are going to be a benefit to you in the long run. They're also sort of looking at what's called production verification. And this is ensuring that your production system matches with the yields that you're getting, right? Produce this amount, and that tracks back to this. Their inspectors are trained to really understand, like, this acreage of rice will yield X many pounds, and it's reasonable that you produced this from this production site. So sort of a similar records that you might have shown previously, but they're going to be sort of showing this other piece of information. Are you both organic and conventional? Then you need to make sure that you have practices in place to show that organic and conventional never commingle, right? They're separate. They're separate in their storage. They're separate in their equipment that's used. And so something like a cleaning log that shows that you're cleaning your harvest equipment between use in conventional and organic. And an inspector can ask to see records on the conventional side too. Nothing is off limits. And so just to sort of make sure that everything looks the way it's supposed to, everything's tracking correctly, they might ask to see those. Now, if you're an organic producer, you're doing everything right, you're following the rule, your OSP, they're not going to go digging deep. It's going to all make sense to them and it's going to look great. But inspectors are trained to just, if they see something specific, they are trained to kind of sniff it out and get a little bit more evidence. And that helps us all because they're protecting organic integrity by doing that. There are not but many bad actors, but there are bad actors, and selling product that's not organic as organic. And so our inspectors are the ones who are helping us protect the integrity of organic. Total organic production value. This is another thing you're going to want to be able to share with your inspector, and that is total sales of organic for the year. Your annual fee to your certifier will be based on the total sales number. And so, like, for example, on my farm, I sold pork and I sold flowers, and the flowers are certified organic. And so the total sales of my flowers is what I pay my annual fee on. Once again, that annual fee is part of what can be reimbursed through cost share. Don't worry, please don't worry. If you keep great records and you track what's happening on your farm and you know what's going on and you have a paper trail that you can look back on to give you that information, certification is going to be easy and your inspection is going to be easy. Little side story, I am married to an organic inspector, so I hear a lot of stories. My partner has seen hundreds and hundreds of farms, all types of production across the country. And by and large, he always says that the farms that have the best records, that are organized, that know what's happening on their farm, that are prepared for inspection, those are the farms that are also doing best financially. Like, he sees this pattern. The folks that are organized and have great records are also the folks that are making money. And so there's a real benefit to you as a producer in keeping good records and being organized. Your certifier is here to support you. The organic community wants you to be organic, even though an audit feels like a scary thing. They are there to keep you organic. So just remember that. Ask questions, read websites. Here you are learning more. And then other organic farmers, they have great ideas on how to be prepared and how to keep good records and how to keep things organized. And talk to your organic community. They're the best resource we have. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in just a sec about that mentorship program that Paul mentioned earlier. We can connect you to an organic mentor who is a farmer. Like I said, there's going to be great rewards in being organized. When I certified organic, it was amazing to finally get my act together and get all my records organized, to be able to look back and say, like, when we planted that on this day, but when did we start harvesting, and when did we start harvesting a reasonable amount? And just having all of those records at my fingertips helped me make decisions for the next year. You are going to have so much great information about your farm. You're going to make great decisions, and ultimately these are going to help you be the best farmer that you can be, information, data. So farmer to farmer mentorship, this is this new program that just launched. It's across the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. You can apply to be connected to an organic mentor, or if you are a certified organic producer yourself with at least 3 years of experience managing an organic certification, you can become a mentor. You're going to need mentors. We're going to need people to enter in as mentees, graduate out, and then mentor the next set of transitioning producers if we want to get this organic thing off the ground. So organictransition.org, that's where you can learn more about this great program and apply. Mentors are paid for their time and commitment. And mentees, so transitioning producers that are looking for a mentor, also receive a small stipend, and then they get 40 hours of direct mentorship from a regional organic mentor who maybe has a similar production system, or has something to teach, has a similar system. So it's a pretty cool thing, and you can apply no matter where you are in the country. You can apply at organictransition.org. That's the website. And there's a lot of other great stuff getting launched through the Transition to Organic Partnership Program. So this website is going to serve as our hub. It's already our hub, and it's only going to grow from here. This program is funded for the next 5 years, and so we're hoping to just get a huge amount of momentum going in that time. So this will be a great place to look for different resources for organic, different events that might be happening in your region, and to connect more with the organic community out in the world. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm so grateful to you for farming and producing food and fiber and products for your community, and committing to stewarding land, and waking up every day and doing the hard work that is so important to all of us. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'm on time here, and we can open it up for questions.
Okay, great. Molly, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, do you want me to stop sharing my screen?
I think you need to, so that we can both come back on video.
Oh, great.
It says I'm unable to start video because the host has to let me. So maybe, yep, that's all right. Well, I'll just keep talking. Maybe Callie can enable me to start my video again. But yeah, so that was great. I really appreciate that, and especially some of these details that are coming out about the TOPP program, I think are really neat. But specifically on our topic today, we do have one question from from Marty. He's looking to create a high-end composting facility with test plots and test greenhouses to get that certified. So I think he's just asking for any thoughts on that, on getting that kind of facility, a composting facility, certified. Yeah. Can you talk about that at all?
I can share what I think is correct, but then you're going to want to vet this with someone else, and whoever you choose to be your certifier is going to be a good option for this. Compost it's an input, right? And so there's a couple things that I'm thinking of. One, if you're going to be growing your own ingredients that you're going to be using for your compost, you're going to want to make sure that those are being produced organically, right? And then, I mean, I know, for example, like if you're gonna make compost just as your own, on your own farm, you need to verify that there isn't a prohibited material in those ingredients. And so you can, like, if you're working with like a horse stable down the road, you can get what's called like an affidavit of material composition from them. That basically says, like, to the best of our knowledge, we're not like spraying our manure with Roundup, for example. So yeah, I don't know exactly. So this will take more research, but it's totally doable. You're going to be able to certify organic, and that's going to be rad because farmers everywhere are constantly looking for organic compost for their farms.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off if you have anything
The
else
other
to say
thing that
about that.
the other thing that I want to say is that you can certify the land underneath something as organic. So, and then but the product maybe won't be certified organic. An example is like my pigs. So I didn't sell certified organic pork, and that's because the slaughter and processing bottlenecks where I am, where there wasn't an option for me to process organically, but the land where they were raised was certified organic. And so all the things I was doing on the land underneath where my pigs were being pastured was certified organic. And so there are sort of nuances like that, which might apply. So I'm not sure who asked that question, but if you want to, I can follow up with some more information for you. So I can get your contact information and get you the right information.
Yeah, that's great. That was from Marty. It looks like so Adrian, you raised your hand. I'm sorry, I don't think we have the capability to open up mics here, but if you can just type your question into either the chat or to the Q&A section.
Okay.
Oh, maybe you can.
Yeah, I haven't allowed to talk. Do I want to do that?
Let's do that.
Adrian, can you unmute?
Okay.
Cool.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, and we can see your great little farm there.
Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I had a couple questions. We do Black Angus livestock. We have also sheep and chickens.
Yep.
I had one of the questions was we just got the farm, and so there's a fair amount of weeds growing up on the farm, and I've heard different things, that some herbicides with just spraying weeds are acceptable with organic certification. So I was wondering about that. That was one of my questions. Can I spray the weeds with some herbicide to get rid of weeds?
Great question. Yeah, weeds are a challenge. I'd say get the animals eating those weeds. But
that's what we're starting adaptive grazing, and we'll be doing that. So
that's going to take care of your weed problem for sure. The answer is there are organically approved things that people use to kill plants. But I would say by and large, the organic community is looking at mechanical or other methods of killing weeds. So, covering, silage tarps, smothering things, or mowing, or cultivating different mechanical methods. You can search on OMRI, the Organic Materials Review Institute, to see what are the things that people are using to kill weeds. My guess is that those things might be like cost prohibitive to use on the scale that you might need them. So really mowing and using animals, those are going to be your best methods. But there are things that are approved that are herbicides. They kill plants, and they're like high concentrations of vinegar, and I don't know exactly what they are, but there aren't the typical sort of weed killer chemicals. Those are not allowed in organic, and often those are things that are prohibited materials that would make you have to wait 3 years for the transition. The other thing that I would encourage you to look at in your region, and talking to your RCD might be helpful. You know, folks are using a lot of like prescribed fire to try and get back, and you know, so putting fire on the ground is another thing that folks are using.
Yeah, I heard like, I think it's like something to 240D or something was suggested by the USDA office, or excuse me, our extension office.
Huh.
That's definitely a herbicide. So I guess, but I don't know if it was in context to organic certification.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're part of this initiative is to help all of our TA providers understand organic more, and so I would just double check that.
Okay.
And
the
the
other,
place you're going to want to search for materials, and materials are really important because you want to avoid those prohibited materials. So it's, I think we can probably share it in the chat. It's OMRI, the Organic Materials Review Institute, OMRI. You can search for a material there. You can search for a material through the Washington State Department of Agriculture, or you can contact a certifier and ask them, is this material allowed? And before you do anything on your property that you have any question about, you want to make sure you do that, because you don't want to mess it. If you might be able to certify organic right now because of prior use, there was no prohibited materials, and you don't want to mess that up by putting something on the ground.
right. And then the other, one of my other questions was, in regards to feed, if it's non-GMO but not certified organic, is that still organic certifiable, or does the feed have to be certified organic?
I don't know the answer to that,
Okay.
but I can find the answer to that out.
Okay.
It definitely has to be non-GMO.
Right. And we have organic feed. It's just, I mean, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
As you probably know, like I can get literally 2,000 pounds of cow feed that's non-GMO for $320, or I could get like a lot less for a lot more, which I don't mind because I'm going to pass that expense on to the customer. But you know, that was my question. Those are my two questions.
I believe it does need to be certified organic, but I don't know the answer exactly, and I'm sorry that I don't know that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my understanding would be that it does need to be organic certified feed, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I
you'd
would
think.
say, yeah, I would say too about just real quickly the herbicide question. You know, there are a couple that there's one called Demise and one called Home Plate that we're actually going to be hopefully have an article about in the magazine in AcresUSA in a couple months here. So
Okay.
they do exist. They're not going to do as well as 2,4-D, but 2,4-D is definitely not you know, good for an organic organization or an organic farm.
And if it's been sprayed, when you say it's been sprayed, is it literally anywhere on the property, or as long as it's not been where cows are grazing?
It's within those parcels that you're going to certify organic. So you might have areas of your farm that are not certified organic, but in the parcels where you are going to have your animals grazing will be certified organic. You need a buffer zone between those two spaces.
Yeah.
So you would want to have like your parcel and then 20 feet of buffer zone, and then you could have not certified organic. But
yeah, I'm liking the adaptive grazing. I've been watching videos on Carbon Cowboys, and a few other pastureproject.org that we're going to implement those practices. Not only because it's free feed and they eat the weeds, but also because the productivity of the property increases dramatically, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, animals can really do the work for you. That's awesome.
Where are you at, Adrian?
I'm in Kentucky, southern Kentucky.
Great. Yeah, come see us at at our EcoAg conference in
I'm on the roster. I applied for a grant from the Eastern Kentucky or UK or whatever that will fund up to like $500 of educational based expenses for farmers, which is pretty awesome.
Great.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll see you guys there.
Yep, that'd be great.
Okay.
I don't see any other questions, but actually this kind of makes me realize another question, Molly, might be, so you kind of have two different categories. You've got land that has to be certified organic, but then you've got, in the livestock situation at least, you've got livestock that would be certified separately. So you could have
Okay.
non-certified livestock on certified land, but you couldn't ever take certified animals onto non-certified land. Is that correct?
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. That I was in a
That's right.
situation like this as well. I worked on a farm in Alabama that the land was certified, but they didn't go through the process of certifying the animals.
Right.
So if you buy an animal from a non-certified farmer, before they could start being certified, you would have to wait 3 years. Is that
Oof, I do know this. There's very specific rules around, yeah, your stock. And you need to bring on certified organic animals onto your property. If you bought breeder stock, you could then breed your own certified organic.
that's what I'm going to be doing?
Yeah,
But
so you'll be
we
good.
we just got the livestock, and so they're going to be non-certified. It sounds like for at least 3 years, and it sounds like the land would have to be certain. So that's also a question. So does land have to be? If I have, like, do I have to wait 3 years and then another 3 years, or do I need to wait 3 years period, and then they both become?
Is there?
You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, and hang on one second, because I think I have someone here who can help us answer this question. Hey,
Okay.
Paul.
Talking about me or your husband?
Sorry, my husband's name is Paul.
Thanks for your patience. Good questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to be able to, get some really good information from people that are pretty knowledgeable. This has been really informative.
Good. So you're new into this. What are you coming from?
I was I was living in the middle of LA, and living kind of like an LA lifestyle. I was doing a number of different things. My primary job was I was working at a high-end moving company.
Very nuanced answer here from the inspector who's standing behind me. When you certify organic for the first time, nothing on your farm is organic. And so when you certify, with your certifier, there may be the option that everything becomes organic at that moment. But that reference the origin of livestock rule. The rule that we want to look at is called the origin of livestock rule. And so write that down and let's look that up. The origin of livestock rule. So there is a potential sort of exception for your first time certifying to bring all the animals within your operation on board with your organic certification. And then from then on, you need to buy organic, or the animals coming onto your farm need to come from certified organic operations.
Well, okay, that makes sense.
But anyone that you breed from your stock will be organic, and you could sell those to other organic producers, or you can sell them yourself as organic product.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are great. Yeah, Adrian, great questions. I just put into the chat both my email and Molly's, and please feel free to reach out. We'll certainly get you in touch with the right folks about that in your region.
Is that in the? How can I don't see it in my chat.
Webinar chat.
Is there going to be, if there's a follow-up email that goes out, could go there. The other thing I wanted to share that another resource, sounds like Acres has got a lot of great stuff going on, but if you check out the CCOF calendar, we've started a weekly office hours. You can just drop in every Tuesday, and there is an inspector on the line ready to field exactly these questions. And I haven't done the inspector training, so sometimes getting on the horn with the folks who are out there really can be really helpful. So if you check out the ccof.org.
Okay. And where is that located?
It's a Zoom. You can just zoom in. So
cool.
Yep. Yeah. You drop in from out in the field with your cows. Yeah.
Oh, that's super handy.
Do you see
Yeah,
that
and
in the
definitely
chat
apply-
now, Adrian?
I do.
Okay,
Definitely
great.
apply for mentorship. Like, let's hook you up with this producer who's similar and organic, and that's going to be a great
Yeah,
resource
I
for
would really
real
like
time.
to do that.
Yeah.
I can apply. I was sort of wondering about that. If it's, do you automatically get a mentor, and how involved are they going to be?
Yeah, you would definitely get a mentor. And they are tasked with providing you with sort of 40 hours over the course of a season. And so if you, or more, I
Wow.
mean, so yeah, we are holding those mentors accountable to provide you the support that you need. And, we want you to have that real time, like call up your friend, text your mentor, just sort of say like, hey, what should I do in this moment? So,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
cool.
Boy,
It
that would
is
be
a great
awesome.
deal. I'm curious about the history of that, Molly. Like, who came up with this idea? I mean, I'm sure it was been recommended by various people, but it's a great idea. I mean, if you're going to spend the government money on on something like this seems like a great way to do it. I mean, you do the
Let's pay
math
the
and
farmers to teach the farmers.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yep.
$3,000 divided by 40 hours. I mean, that's $75 an hour. I'm sure there's travel time, and that's not exact, but that's a good rate for the mentor, and then the mentee gets $500 as well, and all this great information.
Oh,
Yep.
So
you mean I would get $500 for
Yeah.
getting a mentor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will. We're
This
going to
just keeps
pay,
getting better.
because we recognize that this type of learning is taking you away from your farm, and we want to do our best to make you whole and help you succeed. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's a good deal. We're going to pay you to get a mentor.
Sweet.
So
Cool. We'll
sign up
apply
today.
and we'll find you. Yeah, we're going to find you a good person who's going to know all this stuff inside and
Yeah.
out.
Okay, and yeah, unfortunately, I apologize for cutting us off. We are at the end of our time here, but this has been very informative, and I really appreciate it, especially the interaction, Adrian. And then, if you saw the our emails there, in
Yep,
case you don't
I
see
got
it or
'em.
someone's just listening on the phone, my email is editor@acresusa.com. I do want to plug real quick. I mentioned our conference, 4 to 7 December. It's right near Cincinnati and Covington, Kentucky. Molly mentioned there's a bunch of events with CCOF as well. If you go to their website, ccof.org. Any final words, Molly?
Just thank you everyone for being here. It was a pleasure to connect.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Great.
Best of luck to you, Adrian.
Okay, I'll see you at that conference, hopefully.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Yeah.